and I'll give you a rundown of who we have and what. Well, actually, I'm gonna let them do it real quick.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love that.
All right, Tammy, you start. Tell Susan about your app and just, real brief what it's doing.
Okay. Well, I work for a public accounting firm, so we created our app primarily so our clients can upload documents securely, so they don't have to come into the office to get us their information for their tax returns. Mm-hmm. And then it also has a lot of important dates and emails where they can send us messages if they need to.
Excellent. Okay, Melinda.
Everyone, my husband and I launched the Good Karma Sport Fishing app in August, and it continues to grow. So we're really excited. My husband has an awesome community, and he's a charter boat captain here in the Keys. So that's our business. So the app's an offshoot where he hosts his podcast and fishing report, and the fishing report is just on the app. And then there's lots of weather details, solar, lunar, a pathway to our store, all the things. So yeah, it's been fun.
It's real cool, and it's growing rapid.
Yeah, it's growing really well. We're very excited.
My husband loves it. He listens to the podcast, and then he got all excited and started telling his brothers about it. So yeah.
Awesome.
But that's how it grows. So, all right, Miranda popped off camera. So Anna, you're up.
She did that on purpose.
Yeah, I know. I was going to pick on her too.
So Miranda and I work with the Brookfield Chamber of Commerce, and our app really is the opposite of every other chamber app. We actually promote deals that our chamber investors have announced to the public. So it's really a deals and almost like a coupon app.
So
awesome.
Yeah. Okay, Lisa, what are you and Maggie doing? Hello, Maggie. She popped off camera, but
we've been working for almost 2 years. We've got a live date, so we're really excited about it, of April 27th. Yay! It's called Generating Peace. It's a collection of the world's peace prayers of the 12 major religions and traditions. And so we're looking forward to interacting with the world on global peace and generating peace.
Excellent. And then, okay, Jen, I'll let you talk about our app.
Okay, so it's easy beasy, and it is a work order and routing app. And you have to tell me if I say something wrong or need to add something, because I haven't really done this yet.
You're in a safe space. Go for it.
So I work with Nancy and her partner Shannon and LeVar, and Shannon created this, came up with this idea for a work order app. She owns a landscaping company, and she wanted a more efficient way to create and manage work orders and routes and things like that, so that you could do it from the field and not have to constantly go back to your office, to your computer, to make these things, that you could just do them on the fly. And especially for if there's last minute changes, like someone calls out from work, or there's a job that's been added last minute, or somebody forgot a tool that they needed. They can just add things to the work order, make the changes, put a work order, like a job on another route, things like that. So it's just going to make things a lot more efficient when it comes to work orders. And it's not just for landscapers, like basically anybody that has that, works in that type of industry, where, you know, it could be for dog walkers, it could be for electricians, plumbers, anything like that.
Exactly. Cool.
Cool.
And then we're going to get started here. So we're just wanting to give Susan kind of a background. I am very, very pleased today to introduce to you Susan Elford, a very dear friend of mine who is not just a PR strategist. She really kind of tries to help people build their communities. And she does it in a different approach than your typical just, be the PR person. You know, it's all about you as the business and the message that you're giving and being able to create and build those relationships. She's also done some wonderful volunteer work, and it's women's leadership. I cannot remember the name of it, Susan.
It's called Lean In.
Lean
Sheryl
In.
Sandberg's group, Lean In, yeah.
Lean In, yeah. And she is up in Canada. And it's great though how our world is, it's got no walls, no borders anymore. I mean, even looking what a lot of the apps that are doing are beyond just our small little neighborhoods. So I thought I'd bring Susan in today. Please stop with questions as you have them. You can either put them in chat or just ask. It's kind of an informal, but yet Susan has some items prepared that she wants to share. And without any further ado, Susan, I will let you take over.
Thanks so much, Nancy. I'm really excited to be able to present to you all today. And Nancy told me a little bit about your backgrounds before I came on screen today. And one of the things I really love about it already is that you already have the mindset of how you're serving others through your app. Like there is a benefit to have the app downloaded on someone's phone. And because you are already thinking with that mindset, means that you've already got a lot of the background that you need to be able to use PR in your business. Because PR really is, it's about building relationships with people who will appreciate the service that you offer, right? So because you're connected with what that service is, it is something that I think you'll be able to get some ideas from this presentation today. Before I get started, I'm just going to turn off my printer. I pressed print quite a long time ago, and it's taking forever to print, and I don't want it to create a lot of noise. 1 second.
No worries. Excellent. Okay. Nice to see you, Lucas.
Good to see you too.
So Susan, just so you know, Lucas, he works with Tammy. So we had him
with the public accounting firm.
Correct.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I do have a presentation prepared. I mean, certainly there is a lot that can be said about PR. So I might fly through some of this if it doesn't seem like it's particularly relevant. And if you have any questions at all, just put your hand up. You can pop in any time, or you can leave them to the end. I'm quite flexible. Okay, so let's start by sharing.
And I am recording this, so if you miss anything, you can always go back and catch the recording in the course software.
Okay, so can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Are the videos of everybody on the screen as well?
Mm-hmm.
Put you guys over there to the side. Okay, so I prepared a presentation for you today called 3 Ways That You Can Grow Your Business with the Power of PR. And as I said, I'm really excited to be here, to be able to share with you my version of public relations, which may be a little different than what you may think of when you think of the typical PR person. So we're going to cover what PR is and how it can help your business. We're going to show how you can use your personal brand to drive your business brand. So the work that you're already doing to promote your apps, you can also connect it with what you could do in the future with PR. And I'm going to give you 3 easy tools that you can use to promote your business and attract clients right away. So first of all, I'll give you a little bit of background about me. Thank you, Nancy, for the lovely introduction. I am up here in Canada, most of my working life has been in Canada, albeit from coast to coast. So you may or may not recognize some of the companies that I'm going to mention to you today. I'm originally from the east coast of Canada, a province called Newfoundland, which is, for those of you in Florida, you may have come across a few Newfoundlanders because we definitely love to go to Florida. And my PR career spans, oh gosh, almost 30 years at this point. I founded my own business called Elford Communications in 2003. And then Susan Elford Coaching and Consulting, because I'm a business mentor and leadership coach for women in business and professional women. And I started that in 2015. I'm also the founder and president of Lean In Calgary, which is part of the Lean In network of Lean In networks that Sheryl Sandberg's claim to fame has launched worldwide. And as I said, I provide PR strategy, leadership coaching, and business mentorship to primarily women in business and not-for-profit organizations. So as you can see, I mean, honestly, there's almost nothing. It would be really hard to stump me when it comes to a PR challenge or what to do in terms of a particular PR industry. I've worked in almost every one. I've worked in big government, I've worked in small government, municipal, federal, provincial, international corporations, small business, big business, not-for-profits, think tanks, solopreneur operations, startups, family-run businesses, and multinational corporations. And this is really how I'm sharing this, although I don't feel particularly comfortable sharing my whole background, but I'm sharing in this way to show you how I used to always present myself in terms of, this is who I am, I'm wearing the suit jacket, I've worked for all of these big businesses. Like, for example, here's we call it logo soup, when all the sponsors want to get their name on the back of a t-shirt. You've probably all seen them for races and so on. Mm-hmm. So this is a smattering of some of the companies I've worked for. And this would be how I used to present myself. Like, this is my badge of honor. These are my accreditations. These are who I worked for. Look at me, because I've worked on all this stuff. But now what I do, and what I would invite all of you to do as you're building your PR programs for your business, is also to showcase who you are. So this is me with my family and my little dog. And what I've learned a lot from Jonathan Christian, which is how Nancy and I know each other, is really to showcase who you are and what you believe in, not only as an individual, but as an organization. Because people build relationships with people, right? And at the end of the day, public relations is really all about public relationships and building relationships between your company and people, or between your company and other companies, depending if you're B2B or a B2C business. So I started my first business in 2003 so I could better serve my family. At the time, my eldest, who's the girl in red, she was just a little over 1 year old, and I had gone back to work in a multinational energy company here in Canada. And I was finding it to be quite the juggle with both my husband and I having busy careers, and then how are we going to raise this family? So the solution that we came up with was for me to start my own business so that I could create more work-life balance. So this is how Elford Communications came to be all those years ago, which 18 years ago at this point. So now let's get into what PR is and how it can help your business. I have a picture here of one of my very first PR professors. So I actually have a degree in public relations. I have a Bachelor of Public Relations. And this is Patty Parsons. Dr. Patty Parsons, she was my PR professor at Mount St. University up here in Canada, where I attended PR school all those years ago. And I remember her standing there at the front of the classroom, and she has this big smile and a bit of a drawl. And she said, "I bet most of you are here because you like people." She said, "I kind of feel like Cruella de Vil, like the people." And we're sitting there looking at her going, "Yeah, I like people. It's one of the reasons why I got into PR." And it's like she was belittling the fact that we liked people, because so much of the work of PR in those days was actually not in front of people. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, you are in front of a person at some point and making your presentation about what you do, who you do it for, why you do it, what keeps you up at night, what you're excited about. But there's an awful lot of work in the PR world that is you in front of a computer, and writing and researching and coming up with strategy. You're not actually interfacing with people. So I thought that was very interesting. But at the end of the day, yes, I do like people, Dr. Parsons, and this is why I went into public relations. So what do you think of when you think of PR? I'm curious. You can shout out to me right now. When you think of public relations, what do you think about?
Come on, not everybody at once. So I think of a firm who is setting aside or is showcasing a specific image. So like if you've got a celebrity, we have to do PR to make sure that just the right words get out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think damage control, that's like the words that come to my mind when I think about PR and publicity and all of that. It's kind of like along with Nancy, what you were saying is that it's about creating that image. And if that image, you know, something happens and you have to kind of scramble to figure out what to do to save it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Miranda, how about
absolutely.
you? You were going to pop in.
A lot of PR that we get is like exciting or important information about a business. So
You do real well promoting the PR and the chamber members in the news and all of those things. Right. Exactly. Who else?
Awesome.
Anybody?
Well,
Go ahead, Maggie.
I think it's about creating an image in everybody's mind.
Okay.
And the message is what delivers that image.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah, exactly right. I mean, a lot of when people think of PR, they think of the image that you're making, and really, the way I refer to it is reputation. So building the reputation of an organization and of an individual. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do that. So a lot of people, when they think of PR, they think of the news media, right? Like having a spokesperson, being seen on television or radio or print, and how their image is coming across. When you think of PR, a lot of people can build a reputation through speeches. So many of you probably as small business owners are looking for opportunities to speak in front of other groups. This is a great way for you to build your image or your reputation. Another is through events. So this is an example of the picture of me with this guy who's all silver, was a PR campaign for a sunglass company. And we had set up this interactive campaign in downtown, one of the major cities in Canada, to invite people to interact with the new sunglasses that we were showcasing. So those are a few examples of what people often think of when they think of PR, and they are all contribute to building a reputation of an organization, absolutely, and contributing to the image. So the technical definition of PR is a strategic management of relationships between an organization and what we call publics, or basically it's the people, different audiences, through the use of communication to achieve mutual understanding, realize organizational goals, and serve the public interest. So PR was first created not just around publicity, but also like how can we serve people through what we're doing as an organization. And for all of you with your apps, an app is already a PR tool that you're using to promote and build the reputation of the organization that you represent. And just so you know, even though I put down this is the Canadian PR Society's definition, it's also the American Public Relations Society. We are basically the same organization. So as a small business owner, really want to talk about relationships and how building PR can be tied to your personal brand as well as to your small business. So effective public relations builds an organization's reputation and maintains important relationships. So if you think about when you go to a shop to purchase vegetables, for example, some of you are going to shop in the big box stores where you go in and it's fairly anonymous in terms of where the vegetables came from and who's checking you out as you leave the store and who's helping you carry your groceries out. But for others, like small businesses, some of you may prefer to shop with the small vegetable stand on the side of the road, or the person who you know always sells the best produce or the best pies or what have you. You might have a relationship with a small business owner, and that is really that also really contributes to building your image and building your reputation as an organization by wanting to support those businesses that you believe in. You believe in how they grow their vegetables. You believe in what they stand for as a company. And that is something that you can do, and I'll show you how to do it as you're building PR strategies for your businesses. And again, here are examples of 3 different situations where you get out there in real life and you meet your customers in real time. So going to various events, volunteering with people from across the country and around the world, and leading this volunteer organization that I lead here in Calgary, to also get to know people who will probably buy from me in the future, may be interested in what I offer, and for me to meet other people who are aligned with the work I do. And that's all around building my own personal brand and building the reputation I have as a company. So people do business with people, right? At the end of the day, whether you're selling business to business or business to consumer, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. The KLT factor, your know, like, and trust factor, which is built through many different ways, not the least of which is public relations strategies. And PR is very valuable because it boosts your credibility, because people are getting to know you for you, and enhances your reputation if you do it right. Right? It is possible for you to also damage your reputation by, and this is the damage control that we talk about. If something happens that is not representative of how you normally like to show up, or something has happened that was a mistake that an organization made, that's when, I mean, we know that this phrase is used, the PR machines are rolled in to fix it. But the reality is you can't fix someone's reputation in one go. Like, you have to build your reputation over years and years so that you can withstand it when you do perhaps make a mistake, because we all make them at some point. And PR is also valuable because of the third-party endorsements, right? Like having people, it's what people say about you when you're not in the room. That is also PR. Mm-hmm. Now, I think it's also important to say the difference between PR and advertising. I mean, we say that advertising is what you pay for and publicity is what you pray for. So you can purchase advertising, right? You just put your money down and you're buying this ad and you have full control of your message. In PR, traditional PR, you don't have full control of your message. You may have a news story that you're wanting the news media to cover, or perhaps you are having an event that the media are going to come and cover. They will go away and write about whatever the heck they want to after they have seen what you have to say. You don't have full control of what other people say about you. And so that's the big difference. If you want to have full control, that's advertising, and that's what you have to pay for. So we're going to look a little bit about what your personal brand is so that you can build your business brand. So your personal brand is, as Dan Schweibel says, what makes you weird, what makes you unique, and therefore makes you stand out. So it's the way that you differentiate yourself from others. What is unique about what you offer inside your business? What is unique about the app that you offer? What is unique about how you're showing up in the world? Those are the things that build your reputation and showcase who you are separately, whether it's as your personal brand or whether it's as your business brand. So my brand, for example, is I'm very community focused. I'm always volunteering in a community somewhere, doing something. I like to think of myself as professional and doing what I say I'm going to do. And I'm very family focused, and it's at the root of why I started my business all those years ago. So one of the things that I offer in the PR courses that I teach and the work that I do with my clients is helping them uncover what their brand is. What is it that you do differently than others, and what makes you stand out as an individual and as a company? So, and many of you are probably already using social media, for example. I mean, that is another PR tool, and it's an easy way to showcase who you are as a business. So 3 easy tools that you can use to promote your business and attract clients. So as you think about different PR tactics, when you look at this list here, so networking events, speeches, presentations, I've already heard that Tammy, I believe, is writing who's writing a book? Melinda's writing a book. She's already onto her second book. I mean, that's a wonderful PR tactic or way to build your credibility and build your reputation as a company. When you look at these, how many of them would surprise you to think of them as being actually a PR tactic? Is there any here that surprise you?
Yeah, parades.
Parades?
You know, and just on a side note that Maggie, I forgot about the Brilliant Biz Book app, is all around books. It's an entire book series. So Maggie's actually here on 2 apps that I always forget, but talk about you leveraging the book just like Melinda did to leverage the book for credibility. So sorry about that, but anyway, yes, parades. Come on, PR parades. That just
Right, you wouldn't think of it, but the Macy's parade was initially created as a PR tactic. They wanted to showcase their windows that they had created for Christmas that season, and started with the Macy's Santa Claus parade. That absolutely is a PR tactic, and now it's grown obviously to be an icon. But that is one example. Parades were also used in the early days to promote smoking. Isn't that awful? Because now we know how bad smoking is for you. Cigarette companies wanted to show how glamorous it was, and so they sponsored a parade. Like it's been used over the years, which is kind of interesting.
Well, and it makes sense too. Like I grew up in a small town, and we'd have I grew up in Sandy, Oregon. I don't know if any of you have any idea where that is, but it's a small little, town, and we would have the Sandy Mountain days because we're like really close to a mountain. And so it was like that. You'd have this little carnival, and you'd have like a craft fair, and you'd have a parade, and it would be like local businesses or the football team or cheerleaders, which really, when it comes down to it, it seems like, camaraderie and like the town coming together, but really you're just showing off the companies and the football teams and the cheerleaders. So it makes sense to me about the PR.
Yeah, like it's a total feel good thing, right? I guess one of you is with the Chamber of Commerce. Like, this is a wonderful way to showcase all the businesses in a city or the spirit of the city. It's absolutely a PR tactic to demonstrate the community's, happiness for being a part of the community, and also what they showcase, what they sell.
exactly. Maggie, were you going to jump in with something?
Yeah, I was going to say contests. Now, never in a million years would I write that down on a list for a PR tactic, but it so totally is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Totally is. It's something that you can create to generate buzz in your community, whether it's just a social media contest or whether it's something that you're doing inside your organization. And it's also a way that you can partner. Like, I don't know, I keep getting asked, my eldest daughter is university age, and we invested in an RESP program, an education savings plan. And I put my name in to a little jar at the maternity store when I was pregnant. And then this educational savings plan company called me. And so it was a totally good situation for them to do. I mean, they were aligning themselves with people who are going to have babies, who want to have, who wanted to give their children a good fresh start.
She freeze on us? She'll be back in just a quick minute. But we also did contests about 2-3 months ago, just to promote your app. So hopefully Susan will be popping back in. Everybody else is good, right?
Well, Nancy, do you know what an example of an influencer campaign would be? What does that mean?
I am not 100% sure, and I was actually going to ask that question, and I think Susan will be popping back in here as soon as her internet comes back. Virtual worlds are fantastic, but actually, okay, she just sent me a quick text. You gotta love technology, right? We can stay so connected. And her computer crashed, and she's going to be back in just a few minutes. So far, what do you all think? Is this good information?
Yes.
Yeah. Is this helpful?
Yeah.
Good. I have to believe influencer is getting somebody else to promote you, is what my thought is.
Yeah.
For example, it's actually the Brilliant Biz Book, where we're all promoting each other, and we're using our own influences to promote the community. That's one aspect that I can think of right offhand. In the chamber, I want to believe that it's about the chamber promoting the other businesses, so coming about as an influencer in that respect.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Anna.
So I know that there are influencers all over, like Instagram is a really big one. So they are specifically, that is their job, is to be an influencer, and they have over like 10,000 followers just on their one platform. And what companies do is they reach out to them to promote their product. So they'll pay them a certain amount to do like a post or a video or something on a product. That's how the influencer makes money. But then the company is reaching over 10,000 people because the influencer has a following of over 10,000 people. So by, going and reaching out to multiple influencers, you have connections to that many more people. And the influencer is usually fairly hip and trendy, so they know how to promote your product in a way that's actually going to reach people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Good explanation. Thank you, Anna, because that does make sense. It makes a lot of sense. So what other comments or questions while we wait for Susan to reboot? Gotta love technology.
I'm kind of excited to hear how she suggests starting. As somebody in the tourism industry and with a brand new entity, I'm not even sure where to start on the PR spectrum. So I'm looking forward to hearing about that.
Yeah, and I think that that at the end we're going to share something that's going to give you some good direction on that. Welcome back, Susan. We've just been keeping the conversation going about influencers and some of the other tactics that were going on there. Gotta love technology.
I'm so sorry. I have a brand new computer, and I guess there's a couple of kinks. It doesn't like how much I put it to work. All right, so I got to pull my presentation up here again.
Okay.
But yeah, I really love it that this is challenging and also giving you more ideas of what PR is all about. And all the sneaky ways that companies have been marketing to you for all these years, and you didn't even know.
Didn't even know it. Didn't even realize it. So
you didn't know it.
While she pulls that up, did we have other questions? I think we covered the influencer pretty well. Would you say, Tammy, you got your answer? Yeah. Any other things that kind of popped up or ideas? One thing that we talked about the contest back in like November, having a contest to get app downloads and to leverage your community in that respect. And that is something that I do highly recommend. And we can always talk about that further at another time.
Yeah, the contest is great because you can get so much mileage out of it because you give away a thing for free. Say it's a free membership or free something, and then you're raising awareness about what your company does and who it is, and then you get to announce it, right? And you can create publicity around it by making a news release and then putting it on your website. Then you can really get a lot of mileage out of a contest, and it doesn't have to be a big expenditure in your business.
So, was there anything else on this list that anybody wanted to specifically dive deeper into? Nope. Okay, go ahead, Susan.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so something to consider as well in terms of what's the biggest bang for your buck is how you can use PR to communicate to many people at the same time, right? Like you can build your reputation pretty nicely one-on-one, having conversations at networking events, for example. But if you are in front of the networking event and speaking to everybody who's there, or you're on a podcast that gets distributed however many ways, or if you do have the opportunity to secure a news media spot, you are communicating to many people at the same time, and that is going to build your reputation faster as an organization. So when you think about, as a small business owner or as a group with not a big budget, think about those things, like so from that list that I showed you earlier, what are those things that you're already naturally good at? And what are some things that you might already be doing that you could augment the opportunity in your business. So it doesn't have to be something completely separate or foreign from what you're already doing. So for example, don't know how many of you guys or what you feel about stampedes, but Calgary has what they call to be the greatest outdoor show on earth. And it is a large stampede, and it's in early July every year, except for last year. First time in 100 years it was canceled, and we all know why. But what the city does, like a lot of companies will have stampede breakfasts. And this is just something that's a part of the community. They like to give back. They invite their clients over for a breakfast, usually pancakes and sausages during the period of the stampede. But another way that you can augment the PR mileage out of an event like that, where you are giving this to people, like you don't typically charge for these stampede breakfasts, it's a way for the company to give back, is you can advertise that you're having the breakfast, you can invite your clients, you can invite potential clients, you can showcase to the community the things that you do as an organization, all through this event. So you could think about another thing that you might want to be celebrating, or maybe there's another big city celebration that happens in your town that doesn't happen anywhere else that you would like to show your community spirit and give back to the community in some way. And that would be something, perhaps you're already doing it, but then it's just putting a little bit more work into telling people that you're doing it, because they're not going to know you're doing it if you don't tell them. And that's maybe not so much of a secret of PR, but basically tell them the good work that you're already doing. So what are some things that you're already doing? Actually, I mean, I'll throw that out to you right now. Like, can you already think of something now that you're doing in your business that it didn't even occur to you that might be a PR opportunity for you to showcase more? Any ideas coming to mind?
Anybody? Well, I will give you one that a previous client did, is that she held a drawing just to get people to come in and share the word about her business. And, you know, she ended up parlaying that into some of the events that she was having. She does a lot of give back in events. So that worked out well. But along these same lines, Susan, isn't it important to not just give your message out once, repetition, you know, throughout everything? And one thing we did talk about a couple weeks back was Don Miller's book, Building Your Story Brand. Yeah. And that I'm sensing that through this whole theme that you've got going on here, that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, like weaving your company story into all that you do. Yeah, story is huge right now. And one of the reasons story is so big is because people remember stories more than they might remember facts. Mm-hmm. And they also, stories often evoke emotion. And so we all know that you remember how someone made you feel, but you might not remember what they said to piss you off or make you feel good, right? Mm-hmm. So telling your company story, this is exactly what PR is, telling your story.
Yeah. And something else that I've done is off of referrals is I have done one of two things. If it's from an organization I know I get the referral from, I will do a donation back to either their charity that they're working on or to the organization. And the other thing is I will also, if it's a personal referral that's not necessarily an organization, instead of always just giving a gift, I will ask them what charity they would like me to donate to in their name. That's and awesome. I've kind of spun it that way because it's a give across the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I love that. It shows what you care about. So I'm going to share what I consider to be the 3 biggest bangs for your buck when it comes to building PR strategies for your business. So first one, this is huge for me. I believe in volunteering. I believe that aligning your business with bigger like-minded brands, one way to do it is to volunteer. Another is to align yourself with other organizations. And just like Nancy was just saying, in terms of, okay, you really believe in the work that, say, the Cancer Society is doing, and then you want to align yourself with them, then by letting people know that you donate to that organization will tell them something about who you are. So aligning yourself with other brands that people already recognize. This especially works if if you are a small business and you're brand new and you don't have the big advertising dollars that other organizations might have. Another would be to build your reputation through the power of presentations. So not unlike what I'm doing here, I have the opportunity to speak to all of you here today. Imagine if you were a crowd of 500 people and I was speaking, or 10,000 people I was speaking, like all of those people that you're going to reach at the same time, which is one of the reasons why news media is so powerful. And also these days, especially in the last year or so, we're all very used to seeing presentations being done online. So there is no end to how many people you can reach if you're using the virtual community to do that. And I put in here that this also includes podcasts, right? Like podcasts are easy peasy to put together and they become very popular. So that's another great way to get your voice in front of a lot of different people. And the third big thing that to me is just low-hanging fruit when it comes to using PR to build your brand is to use the internet as your personal newsroom. So Nancy specifically asked me to speak a little bit about the power of the news release. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on that here around making your own news. And so we've already touched on that a little bit in regards to, okay, perhaps you have a contest and then you got the winner for your contest and then you announced the winner of the contest. Like none of this would have happened if you didn't come up with the idea to have the contest. So you are in effect drumming up something that's newsworthy. And then making it news and showcasing the person who won the contest. And perhaps you should create a news release, and then you can take that news release and you can put it on your website, and then you can put it in your newsletter, and you can just fabricate your own news. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It is a age-old tactic that showcases who you are, showcases what you believe in, and is a way to get your message out that's not just buying an ad. It's a way for people to interact with your business, which is the relationship part that I've referred to earlier. So I'll give you an example. And in terms of news now, this is something I think is really important to share, especially as the PR consultant as I've been for so long. Often I will get hired, or people would try to hire me because I don't like doing this work. If there's no news, like you cannot get news media to cover a story if there's no story there. Like if you are, you need to have some kind of impact on society, which I love it that all of you do already. Like all of you have an app. There is some reason why people will get some advantage of downloading your app. Is it local? The people will want to cover your story if it pertains to your town. Like what's big in your town will definitely be news more than it would be here, for example, if I'm not from your town. So how close is it? What's the local news happening? Is it happening now? So I'll give you an example. If you are wanting to get some news coverage around an event that you might be having, if that event is 6 months from now, and unless you're getting some kind of world-renowned singer or something coming to your event, it is not news. It is not news until it's actually happening. And then you can get news coverage by, for example, giving away a couple of tickets, calling the news media, saying, hey, I've got this event that's happening tomorrow. I've got 2 free tickets to give out. Can you talk about it on your news channel? Yes. But 6 months earlier, no, because it's not news. It's not timely. It's not, just because you're having an event doesn't necessarily make it news until it's actually happening.
Really quick.
What's that?
Sorry, I have a question really quick.
Yeah.
It's kind of related to this. Do you know where to find, I'm sure you do, but where can I find a good press release template that could be fitting for different subjects, like kind of fill in the blanks type thing, or even if it's like multiple templates that kind of covers all the bases? Where's a good place to find templates like that?
Well, I do have templates inside of the course that you guys can download from my website, and you could probably Google a few as well. But I do have a few templates available. So yeah, so one place will be my website, and okay. Another would be yes. Another would be you just Google like news release templates, and I'm sure you find them.
Well, and I've done that before, but I kind of want one from a trustworthy source.
Are you saying that just because it's on the internet does not make it true? In fact,
Yeah, I should
Susan,
be able to help you with that. And I also have a couple of slides here about building a news release.
yeah, there we
Okay.
go. There we go.
Okay.
I was hoping that there was some kind of a formula for building a news release.
There is a formula. There is
Yeah.
absolutely a formula.
Spoiler alert. Okay, go ahead.
There is a formula. Okay, so it's also newsworthy if it's contentious, right? If something's happened, which is why we talk about damage control. If there's a conflict there, there's often news in there. Is it actually new? And does it focus on people? Like, no matter how much pitching I've done with media over the years, they want to know what it's going to mean to their audience, and it has to be most of their audience. So if, for example, you have a very niche kind of news story, then you will be targeting those news media who covered that kind of niche material. So if you're wanting the general news media in your town to cover it, it's going to have to be of interest to most of the town. If you have something that's very specific to fishing, for example, you would likely be able to get news coverage in fishing websites and fishing magazines and so on, right? So just thinking about who you're speaking to and where they get their news. But sadly, if you don't have any of the above, you have information, you don't have news, and media are going to make you go out and buy advertising. But we can try. Lord knows I've tried. So here are some ideas of things you could do to make it news. As I was suggesting, you could bring in a celebrity, you could host a breakfast, you could create a world record in something. Like maybe there's something that you could do. You could find out what the Guinness Book of World Records has as the category in that, and you could create a new one that's almost always guaranteed news. You could donate to charity, like Nancy talks about. You could be entertaining. You could help someone, do something really significant for someone. There's all kinds of ideas of things that you could do that might be interesting. And again, here are some more ideas. If you're going to have an anniversary, it could be your birthday. Remember Wendy's, right? Like we celebrate the owner of Wendy's birthday every year. It could be the anniversary of when you started your business. Perhaps you've got a new product launch or a new team member, like anything that's new, it's new information of what's happening inside your company can be considered news. So here's your formula for your news release. This makes it look really simple. It is, I'm going to be the first to admit, it is not the easiest thing to write a news release. You need to have a great headline, something that's really catchy, something that's short. You need to have a solid lead. So the way people read their news, and you're going to notice this now, every time you read an article in the newspaper, is the most important information is first. And then it gets, as you go down, because you're going to lose people, right? They're going to read the first line, and then maybe you've lost them by the 5th line or the 10th line. So you want to have the most important information up front. So it's different than writing a story or some other thing where you're like burying the lead. That's where that expression comes from. You don't want to bury the lead. The lead needs to be in the very, very first paragraph. You're always going to want a quote from your spokesperson, because news media are going to either call you to interview that spokesperson, or they're going to just pull that quote right out of your news release and plunk it in their news story. So you want to have a quote, and you want to have a way for them to reach you. Okay? 4 key things. Good headline, solid lead, all the most important information in the first paragraph, quotes from your spokesperson, and contact information. Who do they call to get more information?
It's really that simple.
It's really that simple. Sorry, because I'm not presenting for PowerPoint, it's looking all over the place. It's really
awesome. Awesome. Now, one thing that people might say though is that newspaper print is dead. But why would we want to do a press release if, the newspapers these days are 10 pages?
Yeah, no, very good point. Well, they're not necessarily going to cover it in the newspaper, but what you're going to want to do is have all the information. Like even if it's not a formal news release and you have it in an email, but have all the information. And then a really great way to get attention from your local news media is to reach out to them on Twitter.
Right? Ninja trick.
And DM them on Twitter, preferably, or just announce it. You can make these announcements from your Twitter feed, but Twitter is where the news media hang out.
There you go.
a lot of places I found too is that because print is dying, but there's always an online version, and it's usually a separate department and a separate contact person for that. So when I've done things in the past for events and things like that, is I just make sure I hit it both,
Definitely.
the print and the online department separately, and just kind of cover all my bases.
Definitely, definitely, definitely.
So Susan, I just want to give you, we got about 10 minutes left.
Yeah. So I'm going to fly through this now. So just really quickly say, in terms of uncovering opportunities for your local business, I wouldn't be able to tell you right now today where you would need to go to target news media to cover your story. You're gonna know that, right? So some of the work that I've done for Nancy in the past is, okay, like, where do you want to show up? Where do you want people to see to see what you have to say? And so know your small town business reporters, know what organizations are covering what you want to talk about, and know where your ideal clients and customers hang out. Okay, so as we were talking about different ways to leverage your news release, just because they didn't print it doesn't mean you can't use it. Okay,
Exactly.
Just because they didn't print it doesn't mean you can't use it. You can post it on your website. You can create your own newsroom on your website. You can email your subscribers. You can repost anything that gets printed. You can repost it again. Say, hey, so pleased to be profiled here today. And this is a link to the repost. You can purchase publicity spots. That has become super, super huge. And I'm almost embarrassed now because so many news media, you can get your news story to look like news if you buy a spot. So it's like advertising, but you're getting guaranteed positioning. And sometimes that is the way to go for some of your news. You can create your own newscast, right? You could, get Nancy to interview you. She's a great interviewer. And then put it up on your website. It's going to look like a news story. You can videotape that interview, talk about it on your podcast, like all of these things that you can do to leverage your news release. You can make your own news, and we all have our own private news channels with our Facebook and Twitter and Instagram feeds. Those are all ways of getting your story out. We no longer have to depend on the news media to cover us. So guys, if you're liking what you're seeing here, I have some free content on my site available for download, and Nancy has the links. I have a document called your PR Launchpad that gets your business, prepares your business for the power of PR. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that I recommend that you do before you go out there and start drumming up news coverage. So that's completely free. There is an opportunity to have a call with me to review your completed Launchpad. So if you want to have the eyes of someone with 28 years experience in PR to look at it, I can guarantee you this is the most affordable way to do that, because this is also in Canadian dollars. And we all know that it's 20% less. It's like always on sale up here in Canada. So those are a couple of things I have. And the other thing is, if you're really liking this, I have a 5-part course called Activate the Power of PR, which is 5 webinars, and it's about a 50-page workbook with a lot of templates, a lot of content, a lot of material for you to build a PR strategy in your business, which I would be thrilled to be able to offer you. And there's also a Facebook group that comes with that, so which I'm in every day. So if you have any questions and so on, you can get started with your PR program for your small business by doing it that way. So in summary, the 3 ways that you can grow your business with the power of PR is building relationships with your ideal clients, leveraging your personal brand to build your business brand, like show up as you and help people know who you are and what your business believes in, and build your business through some simple PR tools like volunteering, which also could be aligning yourself with bigger, more recognizable brands, presenting, and social media.
Excellent.
And if you
Excellent.
have questions, you can reach out to me.
Susan, thank you very much. Now, just so everybody knows, I put the links in the chat, and I will be following up with an email to everybody. I would highly recommend that you take a look at the free download that Susan has. I personally have worked with her, and it's incredible. It really is. But before we let everybody go, what last few questions do we have? What do you want to know?
It was a lot of information.
Yeah. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, there is so much, but it also can be that simple.
And Susan, I also put your contact link for your website. You don't mind if anybody reaches out to you with direct questions,
Absolutely.
especially some clarity. Stacy, did you have anything?
Hi.
You unmiked.
I did. I've been
Yeah.
Wow, all the information is just unbelievable. Thank you so much for coming today. I've been waiting for you to come actually. Yeah, the media hangout, what would you suggest for that? For like apps, or just put like news, like PR information on each one, or anything?
I didn't hear what the first part of the question was. What did you say?
The news media hangout.
Yes.
You would put that on your app and then just have anything that involves our app on websites or podcasts. Is that what you mean by that?
I don't know if I use the word hangout, but you can create your own newsroom on your website.
Okay.
Where you direct media to. So if you go to like really big companies, a lot of them will have for media on there, and on there the media will be able to download high-res images or have the facts about the business that they want them to know. So you can create your own newsroom around that, and you can also post any news about your business and put it there.
Okay.
Excellent, excellent. And then the other thing is you can also use your website to have an area that says places that you've been in the news. Yes. You know, whether you are in the news, have done a podcast, have done, you know, anything that's getting you recognition, it brings that third-party validation. And that just helps a business grow immensely. You can also put that on your app and in the news tab within the app, if it's appropriate for your type of an app. Excuse me. I think a lot of apps have that area that's definitely appropriate. I'm not 100% sure on generating peace though, because the whole theme of that is a little bit different. So, but still, there's a lot of good stuff that can be done. Doesn't mean that you can't have it on the website of how well you're doing. So there's some definite positives there. Okay, well, we only have just a couple of minutes. I'm going to suggest highly that you reach out to Susan and have that conversation. Very open, very, very forthright. And without a doubt, she's going to tell you straight up the way that it is. Did anybody else have anything else today as we kind of approach the top of the hour? Are we good?
I have one more question.
Sure.
What would you think would be your top 3 PR tactics and methods that you would be your top 3 out of your list?
Gosh. Well, I really believe in the power of presentations. So something like this where people get to feel like they've met you, even though I haven't actually seen any of you in real life except for Nancy. There's this experience especially with video, which is why video is so big on social media. So presenting, right? Especially in-person events if you can. So presenting, social media is a PR tactic, which we're all familiar with at this point. So the more that you can showcase and build relationships with people online. And then I really believe in the power of volunteering. Like it has built my business in the 28 years, just in terms of building referrals and helping people get to know who I am when I'm not trying to sell them anything, right? They just get to know who I am in that space. And that means a lot to me.
Right. And Stacy, with your app, that will be critical because yours is definitely around that. And the same with Lisa and Maggie with the generating piece. That's really a great spot to go. In fact, I could probably come up with a sample for every single one of you. So that is wonderful. Okay. Well, Susan, we thank you so much for your time today. It has been fabulous as always. It is good to see you again. And if anybody has anything else, either shoot it to me or connect directly with Susan and we will get things taken care of. Just on a real quick side note, next Tuesday, our meeting will not be live. I will actually be doing a recording because I am going to be traveling back up north from our Tampa office here. So I will pre-record something and I will pop it up into the software and I will let you know when that's up there so you can hear about it. It's kind of a cool tool that I found, so I want to kind of demo it so that you can use it and leverage it when you do your PR. So it all kind of ties together. So if nobody has anything else, I'm going to leave you with this. Have an absolutely fabulous day.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Nancy. Bye, everyone.